Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're exploring a deeply thought-provoking article by Lisa Basinger titled Alien Disclosures, Noah, and the Coming Deception. Now, if you've been paying any attention to the news or, just scrolling social media lately, you know that rumors are constantly swirling about government disclosures, non-human intelligences, and advanced extraterrestrial life. It literally feels like a science fiction movie is unfolding right in front of us. But today, we're going to set a calm, grounded, yet kind of mysterious tone as we unpack all this. We're going to look at how the source material approaches these modern rumors, but through a very ancient lens. Okay, let's dive into this. The source asks a massive question right out of the gate. What if the coming deception is not about visitors from another planet? The central premise here flips the entire modern mainstream narrative completely on its head. Basinger suggests that what we are currently labeling as extraterrestrial phenomena might not actually be visitors from distant, undiscovered galaxies. Instead, the article proposes that these could be ancient spiritual realities that have simply been repackaged for our modern era. It's a totally paradigm-shifting concept that reframes how we look at the unknown. Section 1. The Alien Disclosure Dilemma. Unpacking the Modern Panic. The article points out that society is buzzing with chatter about what these modern disclosures might actually mean. And understandably, the source notes that this kind of revelation could seriously shake the faith of a lot of believers, forcing them to rethink humanity's place in creation. However, the author presents a very different stance, noting that the Bible has never presented mankind as being completely alone in the universe. The texts consistently acknowledge an unseen spiritual realm. So the crucial point is anchored right here in Matthew 24:37, where Yeshua gives a very direct statement. As were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. The author argues that Yeshua was doing much more than referencing people just living normal lives. He was pointing back to a very specific set of conditions, giving a prophetic warning about the exact spiritual climate of the world right before his return.
Section 2. As in Noah's days, the ancient context of corruption.
To really grasp this warning, the author guides us back to the events recorded in Genesis chapter 6. According to the source, this wasn't just a basic history lesson about eating and drinking, but a warning about an era marked by deep, unprecedented spiritual corruption that ultimately required a massive, global reset. The source describes this passage, noting the sons of God and daughters of men, not just as human misbehavior. Instead, it was a time when divinely established boundaries between the spiritual and physical realms were deliberately crossed. It represents a fundamental corruption of the created order itself.
According to the author, these actions meant boundaries were deliberately crossed and creation was defiled. She emphasizes her view that this pre-flood rebellion was a direct invasion of the human domain that led directly to severe divine judgment. So why does this matter for us right now? Well, because it establishes a prophetic parallel. The source argues that the exact same spiritual wickedness, the very same entities that operated behind the scenes back in antiquity, are the exact forces operating behind the scenes in our world today.
Section 3. Ancient Gods Rebranded. The Strategy of Deception.
And this brilliantly illustrates the author's direct parallel. The source points out that ancient civilizations didn't just write myths, they believed they actually interacted with these entities. Nearly every ancient culture on Earth has preserved detailed stories of powerful beings descending from the heavens and teaching forbidden knowledge. Previous generations called these entities gods, titans, or heavenly beings. Today, our current generation calls them extraterrestrials, non-human intelligences, or aliens. The article argues that what the ancients worshipped in grand temples, what they worshipped with sacrifices in those temples, modern society is now welcoming with open arms through science, technology, and the promise of human advancement. The packaging has completely changed to suit a technological era, but according to the source, the underlying deception remains exactly the same.
Section 4. The Transhumanist Temptation, a familiar trap in modern tech.
The author intricately links humanity's modern desire to transcend its created nature right back to the very first deception in the Garden of Eden. Enter transhumanism, the idea that humanity can evolve beyond its physical and mental limitations through science. The article frames this not as human progress, but as a familiar ancient trap. The author traces the progression of this strategy across 3 distinct steps. Step 1 was the Eden deception, where the serpent promised humanity hidden knowledge, whispering that they could become like God. Step 2 was the pre-flood corruption we discussed from Genesis 6, featuring the unnatural mingling of the physical and spiritual. And now, Step 3 is the modern deception, manifesting today as transhumanism and DNA altering. The source really wants us to see that the underlying lie is identical across history, just receiving a new era-appropriate wrapper each time.
The pursuit of this ancient dream is happening right now through advanced avenues: genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, biological modification, and technological integration. The article issues a very strict warning against these modern trends. You know, mankind is constantly being told that our future relies on rewriting our DNA, merging with machines, or integrating with animal biology to become something greater. But the author strongly cautions that human DNA should never be mingled. The stance presented is that the Creator designed us uniquely, knitting us together, and any attempt to rewrite that code is a dangerous rebellion.
To add more depth, the author highlights a comment from a reader referencing the prophetic book of Daniel, chapter 2. They will mingle themselves with the seed of men, interfering with God-created mankind. The author uses this interpretation of the biblical prophecy of the miry clay mixed with iron to further frame the modern push toward transhumanism, not as a scientific breakthrough, but as an ancient prophecy fulfilling itself. It's an attempt to fundamentally interfere with God's original perfect design for mankind.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 5, Standing Firm in Truth, the Call to Spiritual Resilience.
After laying out all these intense and frankly bizarre societal developments, the author's primary goal is to reassure believers. The message here is that if strange manifestations increase and society becomes absolutely fascinated with entities claiming superior wisdom, there is absolutely no need to panic. The certainty of the word is presented as an anchor. The author delivers some strong concluding advice to those navigating these developments. Maintain pure DNA and refuse hidden knowledge. Just as Noah was considered perfect in his generation and was spared, the source urges viewers to choose to remain fully, purely human. The ultimate takeaway presented is that mankind's true hope and future are found strictly in spiritual redemption through the Messiah, not through any form of technological self-transformation.
Hold fast to the Scriptures and Messiah. To dive even deeper into this topic, please refer to the original article located on the website. A link to the article is provided under the video description. Also, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video, to help us spread the truth of God's Word to the world. Now, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to consider. If the days of Noah are indeed not just in our past, but waiting right ahead of us, are you prepared to hold the line on what it truly means to be human?